Three days ago, this bucket was empty, and this is how full it is now. This is a 5-gallon mark, this little line, and we're close to 3 gallons full, which is about this high, which is probably 5 inches. And because this is vertical, that translates directly into the amount of water that fell on us day before yesterday. And that's the beginning to this greenhouse update, and I'll show you why. This is my outside garden. Wasn't going to do one this year, but decided against it. I have all this terrain, and I know it grew squash pretty good last year. So primarily what I'm growing is cucurbits, which is squash, cantaloupes, and melons, and also corn, the sweet corn. Just not enough space in the greenhouse. Plus, I'm trying to grow out my hybrid, and a friend of mine's named Justin, his hybrid as well. They have all punched through. Let me see if I can show you just kind of a quick. You can see here. It's kind of hard to see in general. There's some over there. But basically they've all punched through the surface. So this is the outside garden for now. This is the side visual of the greenhouse. Both sides are up. And I wanted to give you kind of a walk up to it. I haven't been out to it today. Yesterday it was too muddy to even get into. And it was crazy. There you go. Not a pretty picture. This had been really muddy, and I had started pulling up all the fabric. I was going to re-level because there were some severe holes from earlier in the season flooding. And then bam, 2-3 days ago, we got a flood. There was an actual flash flood warning, and everything goes with that. There was so much water movement through here, it backed up way back. It was flowing from the left side of the greenhouse over there behind the carrots through the greenhouse and down past towards my RV there. But still, let's look at some of the positives. That's great. I've showed you some of the negatives. I don't like sharing the negatives because I'm embarrassed by them, but I'm going to do it anyway. These are my strawberries, and just for a reference with my hand, they're probably, I don't know, 10-12 inches tall. Big, beautiful leaves on them. Still producing some berries, although not as much. Missed that one, so that one's ruined. Some of the berries are really sweet. Some of them are tart. Probably my impatience has led to the tart ones. Like that one's a little overdone. Missed that one. Going along here real quick. Some more. Lots of runners. Lots of big runners hanging down everywhere. I call even some little outside plants there growing in the compost and the berry. I would call this a success. Vertical towers next year for sure. Along the edge of the greenhouse, and I've got an 8-foot FAWN here and 2 10-foots down there. I've got a hodgepodge of my hybrid along with some cantaloupes and melons that I'm going to grow up. I still haven't finished up top up here, stringing these the rest of the way up, but I'll get to it. Right now they're not quite high enough until you get to the end squash there. But I've got some interesting hybrids, like this one for example. I think this is my most promising. It's a beautiful, beautiful yellow. With the bush habit and lots of little babies. I like that one a lot. It tastes really good. You got some They're like the Zephyr still. Some that are more lemon-like with some colors in it, and just every kind of variation you can think of, including some green ones. Just really neat operation here. Over here I've got a hybrid from a guy who gave me some seeds. I'll call him a friend of mine now. I really like the growth pattern of this. I've trimmed them to one stem like a tomato. It branches aggressively, and so I'm calling this the Justin hybrid. I won't give you what the two parents are, because it's not fair, because he's the one who came up with it. If he wants to share it, then he will. But he has given me permission to grow these out. I've selfed those two off of this one plant because it is the one that I enjoy the most, and we'll see what we get next year. Carrots still doing really well. I got some unusual foliage here. I'm thinking that is, yep, a flower pod, which means the carrots are about to go bitter, would be my guess, but we just haven't been eating them that much. There's tons of carrots in there. My potatoes are almost unrecognizable now, and they've been attacked by aphids. And I've tried everything I can. Neem oil, tried spinosad. Spinosad doesn't work. And so I've got 3,000 ladybugs on order. Hope to get them in the next couple days. And if I do, I'll show you their release. This is my kale plant. It's basically my decoration plant. I don't pull much for it, just occasionally a leaf for soup. That's my hand in reference to its size. It's a beautiful plant. Love the look of that plant. Up top here I've got my beans. It's a bush bean, and you can see they're doing well. They're beginning to flower up, and I'm going to try succession planting. And just to the right I've got two more that are a couple weeks behind it, and a couple on the bottom down there and over there as well. I've got a cabbage, continuing with trying to grow full-size cabbage. This is early Copenhagen, but I'm trying to grow full-size cabbage in a small environment, so I'm pulling most of the bottom leaves off. And I could probably even do more, but we're still in the testing phase of that. Tried a little bit of that last year, and these things get really heavy, so I'm going to grow them a little bit differently, but I'm going to continue testing this one. Planting some new broccoli on the way there. Got some celery here and here, as well as a big old plant here. It's starting to come on pretty good. There's actually a whole lot more than one plant in this, I'm guessing. But the thought here is that, like the kale, this will produce one massive, and I can cut a stalk off or two as I need it. These were an experiment, the next in line here, and they were growing butter crunch on this side, Adriana on the other, and all three of them. This one didn't have a good connection down in here, so both of those plants are basically struggling, especially this one. The other one's dead. This one wasn't the greatest, but I still got a good butter crunch, and Adriana looks pretty good. The butter crunch in this one and the Adriana over there are doing well, especially this one. Preliminarily, the butter crunch is outperforming the Adriana at this time of year. These are my 3 tubes I showed in a previous video, and they have lettuces. Not every one of them fired off. This one didn't fire off. I might have to replant that one. But other than that, they're all growing and looking promising. This is my herb tower, and I've got basil in there. Yeah, let's see here. I got chives, cilantro, thyme, and not all of them had fired. What's that there? Oregano right there. Not all of them had fired, but it's looking promising. I think that would be pretty cool if that turns out. This bucket's just holding some of my filler insulation that covers the gaps and holes and various things to keep the algae out. So that's it on this vertical fawn. It's a 10-foot vertical fawn. Looking promising to go into the vertical thing here. My Sonicare, this was our older one from using the house. We got an upgraded, a newer version. And I just cut some of the bristles off of this, and that's what I use to pollinate. I don't know if you saw that one. We'll do another one. Got pollen dropping. Thing does wonders. Very good tool. I try to do it every day. If I hit it with this toothbrush and it drops pollen, it's going to set fruit. And that's my goal, isn't it? Grow a lot more tomatoes. So this Sonicare is a very, or any electric toothbrush probably would work just as well. A good thing to have. Underneath my tomatoes succeed in this row, I've got peppers of various kinds, jalapenos, some California Wonders. They're starting to flower and drop pollen. As you can see, there's a flower. And these are the ones that I topped off to get them to branch out wider. And I think I've got a big gem, like 3 California Wonders, and a mild jalapeno in this row. Okay, on the end here, my favorite cherry tomato is a black cherry. You can see here a pretty nice cluster here. I've trimmed it to just one stem. There's 2 separate plants in there and one stem, and they're flowering pretty good. Right next to it in this one bucket, I've got chocolate stripes, and I've got 2 plants in that. And then all the way down, the rest are my tomato. It's called Succeed, and you're not going to see as many flowers anywhere else in the rest of the greenhouse as there is on this row. The tomatoes aren't exactly uniform. I've got varying sizes, a little bit of different coloration. Like there's one that's got the shape of the mom, but it doesn't have the trusses that I like to see on this one. Here's one that's got a decent sized truss, but none of these are producing the 30-something clusters that I saw last year from the parent. This one is a promising one. It's got a good bit there, some tomato set, and then you come down here and it's probably got, I'm going to say, just a rough guess there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's still making on that one. So this one is kind of promising, and it's got the coloration too. So there's at least 20, 25 flowers on this one, which is really good. I didn't see that until I was filming. It's also got a medium height. This one and that one next to it are a shorter one, which I wanted a slow growing indeterminate, and the amount of flowers and tomato growth might stunt the vertical growth. This one is really tall. That's a decent sized truss on it though. Really tall. The fruit is rounder. It doesn't have the same coloration on it as the others. This one's real wimpy for some reason. The next 2 are okay. There's not a whole lot of tomato set, and the leaves are a little wimpy, but so I have at least one promising one on here, if not 2, and I'll watch them as they develop. In this row, the next one over, these are Moskvich, which is a greenhouse-like tomato that's an open pollinated. In each one of these buckets I've got various herbs. That's a basil, of course. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe another basil. There's something there. I don't know what it is yet. It's very small. Could be oregano. Oregano is small. There's something there. Don't know what it is for sure. I think I'm almost positive that's oregano. More basil, cilantro, my mom's figs, and the onions look like they're trying to bulb. All on this row are the Moskvich, and it's a pretty neat little tomato. You can see here's a good tomato set. All the tomatoes have good color. Some of the ones closest to the potatoes are starting to get aphids, and that's really concerning me. So come on, ladybugs, hurry up and get here. Pretty good set. It's not as much or as quick as the Succeed tomato that I'm growing, but I'm liking it so far. We'll see what she tastes like. Down here on the end, I'm pretty sure that's another black cherry. Yeah, and it's doing better than the first one. And it's got nice trusses on it with a bunch of little tomatoes. And wow, look how thick that one is. That's indicative of all the tomatoes at this point. I guess the temperature has reached optimum. The roots are down in the FAWN system. Tomatoes are greening up a lot more. They're getting thicker, healthier, and they're flowering like crazy. I'm dropping pollen like crazy with them. On this row, I've got the 3 buckets on the end here. They also have some different things in it. That's cilantro. This is a pepper of some sort. There's another pepper that's not doing very well. But these 3 in this on the end here are Campari, and I need to do some suckering. But beautiful little tomatoes. Kind of a odd color compared to a lot of the other tomatoes, as you can see there and there. But good trusses, even trusses. It looks like it might be a neat tomato. We'll see how it grows and tastes. Next to it is my favorite OP, probably very close to a couple of the darks like Charlie, in my favorite category, tastes nothing like, but right up there with chocolate stripes and Cherokee purple. This is called the Heg German Pink. It also is making some pretty decent flower trusses. Not huge, not a whole lot of tomato set in comparison, but this one's kind of an odd shaped one. But it's still, I'm getting tomato set and a good bit of flowers. This last FAWN here, I've got collards that are broke off completely. I was going to replant something else in them, but they're trying to come back. Got some in this row in the pots. I got onions obviously there. Those are candies. Eggplant, it looks like cilantro there, and marigold. Another eggplant right here that's being attacked by aphids. At least I'm pretty sure they're aphids. Let me get in close. Maybe you guys could tell me. I see little white specks. Some on the back here. And there's a good picture of some of them. But I have sprayed with neem. I've wiped these down and they're getting the better of me. So, but above them, growing above them, are my San Marzano Redortas. And you can see here, pretty paste tomato. Did a lot of, it produces a lot. It has a lot of nice tomatoes on them as they go. The flowers are a little delicate and hard, not hard to pollinate, but they don't drop as much pollen, so you're not quite sure if you got it or not. But you can see through there, there's some. So my Redortas are doing fine. Looks like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets with 2 in each bucket. And I'm training them to a single vine like the rest of the tomatoes up, and we'll see what we get. This is Brent in the greenhouse, a greenhouse update, signing off.